It's nice to get back into a Scion car other than the FRS. You know what? Scion was not sold in Canada for many years. It was only sold in the United States. A couple of years ago, they brought the brand to Canada, and it didn't do that much. It was only when they brought out the performance-oriented rear-wheel drive, lightweight FRS that people started to take notice of Scion. Well, this TC is not going to appeal to the same buyer. Don't get these things confused. Someone that's looking for an FRS really wants that type of car, where somebody that's looking at a TC is really looking for a car that they can drive every day as a commuter vehicle that's a little bit more relaxed and comfortable for everyday duties. The FRS doesn't fit that bill, especially in the winter with rear-wheel drive. This is a good-looking car, and it's got some tricks in the design that make it really quite eye-catching yet roomy. It's got that long roof line and the hatchback design. With the long roof line, you actually get room in the back seat. I'm 6 feet tall and I can fit back there. Now, Scion says you can actually get 5 people in this car, more than likely comfortable for just 4. Also, front leg room is good as well. So it's a compelling package with a big hatchback and lots of space, especially if you fold down the back seats. So it's got something going for it that a lot of others don't. The fact is that it's a 2-door hatch. I'm trying to think of other cars that are out there in the marketplace. Probably the Honda Civic, which is a 2-door trunk. You get the Kia Forte, and maybe the Volkswagen Golf 3-door would probably be the best competitor. This car is exactly $5,000 less than the FRS, but you get a lot of features, especially like the 18-inch wheels. You get the projector headlamps that look aggressive with the deep chin spoiler. The way this car sits right here is exactly the way you would get it as the base model. We'll get into the 2 features you might want to add to this car, but the way it sits here looks pretty good for a base car. Now, the FRS has 200 horsepower, but this TC is no slouch. It has 179 horsepower and 172 foot-pounds of torque because it has a large engine for such a small car. 2.5 liters, no 1.8, no 2 liter, 2.5 liters, pumping out almost 180 horsepower. Goes through an either 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic transmission. The transmission can be shifted up or down here in the center, or you can just leave it in sport mode, which makes the car feel a little crisper. Now, this is not the flat-out performance handling cars you're going to get with the FRS, but it is a nice daily commuter. McPherson strut front suspension, independent rear suspension. Often with cars of this price, you get what's called a torsion beam or trailing axle suspension. Because it has independent suspension all the way around, it feels quite good. Also, standard disc brakes, no drums in the back. The fat steering wheel is nice, and the low, wide, hunkered down look of the car definitely makes it feel sporty. But this is a really nice combination of dynamic looking and somewhat feeling, but really a compliant and sophisticated ride for a person that wants a car that looks good, but also is comfortable to drive every day. And I think this car has a nice balance. Now, you have to hand it to Toyota and Scion for producing a very roomy 2-door hatchback. Often the case with cars like this, they're kind of squished. This one really is quite roomy, even though it has that cropped roof look effect, because it really isn't that low. There's still plenty of headroom. Speaking of the roof, it comes with a full glass roof with a panoramic roof that also opens up. That's standard equipment for just over $21,000. I mentioned already, but the inside is really quite roomy. Even the back seat, you can get full-grown people back there, not just for kids. The stereo is a Pioneer unit. It's a double DIN size with a big screen. The problem is, it looks like somebody thought about putting that radio in there after the car was finished. I don't like these aftermarket looking radios when you're spending all of this money for a production car. By the way, there's only 2 options for this car. One is a factory or dealer installed upgraded radio from Bon Jovi, and you can also get leather seats. Now, why would you want to get leather seats for over $2,000? That's to get heated seats. That's the big faux pas with this car. If you want heated seats, you got to splash out the $2,000 to get leather. I kind of like cloth seats, the grippy in the corners, and I think that should be on here as maybe a $400 or $500 option. The other thing about this car is everywhere, cheap, hard, plastic. When you look at some of the competing cars, like the Kia Forte Coupe, or the Volkswagen Golf with soft touch dash, nicer, cleaner looking finish, this car really falls short. Where it does win is on room, lots of leg room, plenty of headroom, lots of room in the back, but the finish on the inside really is kind of lackluster. The upside is the seats have a lot of adjustment and there's a big thick steering wheel as standard equipment. That does feel good in your hand, and the overall impression of the inside is quite sporty. Now, as I mentioned off the top, if you're interested in an FRS, you're not going to consider the TC, but it's also the other way around. People that are looking for a comfortable commuter car that wants something stylish yet practical, this car fits the bill. It's a whole lot less expensive than the FRS and comes very nicely equipped. Toyota really has to do something about the interior materials of most of their Scion products. They're riddled with cheap plastic, the radios look like an aftermarket afterthought, and they could make it look so much more polished. If they did that, that would be a really tough car to beat. But you know what? You've got to love the style and you've got to love the look, and if you do, this car offers a lot of value.